Hello again. Welcome to today's webinar. XTRF 7, more value and benefits for your business. That's the topic of our webinar today, and that's exactly what we will be discussing. With me, I have Bartek. We'll get you through the agenda first. So we plan to start with discussing vendor management in XTRF. Then we'll take you through automations and cascades in specific. We will talk about how the system can give you global exposure to your organization, to your business, and how it is available also internally. We'll have planned a Q&A session at the end, so make notes and keep your questions till then. As means of introduction, I'm Konrad Chmielewski. I'm XTRF's head of sales, and I will be trying to have you understand how XTRF specifically in version 7 can help your business, and Bartek, who's with me, will help translate that into system language.
Yes. So basically, I've started my career here in XTRF in help desk. Some of you might know me from there, but I have been recently trying out in the deployment specialist area. So I will be more about the technicalities and how you can actually convert the XTRF features into real business value.
All right. So vendor management is very specific. Some clients even tell us that XTRF, seeing our vendor portal, which is not the topic for today, they say how XTRF is kind of a vendor-centric system. It's always very nice to hear that, but today specifically we want to show you how vendor management and improvement in that area can help you to keep your external costs low, but without pushing your vendors, your providers, to cut the rates. That's the fastest way to do it. That's the obvious choice for some of the providers, but this is not where XTRF can have you go. So we will show how XTRF can help to increase the number of potential providers, and how that will translate into also using more of the people people that you have in your database, how you can start your projects faster, and this way reduce the cost. Somewhat also increase the consistency and quality, what has always been typically has been the domain of CAD tools. So what we have here, Bartek.
So here we have a view that you can arrange yourself as well. The Smart Views in XTRF is a really flexible tool. You can arrange it in any way you want to. It can display a lot of data in here, but what we have prepared for you is the basic view of all vendors in the system. As you can see in the middle of the view, there is a column availability. It is the really easy way to find out whether the vendor is available right now or not. You can see three colors, green, blue, and red. Red means that the particular vendor is assigned to all the jobs and he's not available. So you should be aware of it when you are assigning somebody to the job. Blue is the way of seeing that this is not a work day for him, whether it's a weekend or a holiday. This is the blue square that you can see in here. And red means that this particular vendor is available for that time. The availability is set up for the 14 days, as you can see, but you can increase or lower the amount of squares visible in that particular view right there. So what else can you do in this view? For example, we have created a custom field that we can see whether this person, the vendor right here, is a dog person. So does he love dogs or cats? And here on the right hand side, we have a custom field named this. And if we switch it to yes, we can lower the amount of vendors easily to 17 out of 56, and only those vendors are the dog lovers in your company. Of course, this is just an example. You can use it anyway, but this is one of the cool features that you can use. You can use the custom fields to filter out the data in XTRF. The other way of filtering the data is through categories. Basically, applying any category to the vendor, you can then filter them out in the view that you prepare for yourself.
So this is what we call a smart view. It's a basic look into the database, in this case, the database of your providers. What we will show later on will be something that's more like a contextual view. So these filters that you see on the top of the screen are now empty. You can have your selections done there. And in a contextual view within a project, these will be then inheriting values from a project. We will show that later on. As Bartek mentioned, you can also have your way with sorting your providers in any way you want. Therefore, you can have the people that are most competitive on top, or you can have the people that are the most cost effective on top. This way, the ones you see are the ones that the view suggests you to start using first. There is an automated way to do it. We'll talk about that later on. And one thing that we can influence through here is have a value to show how this person is rated. This is then dynamically generated on this view. As you work with someone, you rate their quality, and obviously you want that to be as high as possible, but you can also have your providers be using a checklist if they're preferred for a client of yours, if they have been working with them before. So this will keep those people on top of your list, and this way the consistency of the work you deliver and the quality will be improved. Moving on to our next section, these are automations, something that we preached for a long time. And what we want to show you today is how you can start working smarter, not necessarily do more or increase the volumes in some tricky way, but have your work done smarter. These are things that you can turn on, turn off. We will show you what flexibility you have in that respect, because there is maybe a few projects that you can have automated fully, but it's typically your client who has their own preferences. You have your own way of working with them, and for some you want to automate a certain section, and for some other things. So this is what we want to show you now.
So we have the project here, which we'll load in a second, in which we will use some of the automations available in the system. 1 second. Let me reload the project. It should be there. Just a second. All right, we are sorry for that. Unfortunately, something went wrong. Hopefully it will load this time. All right, so we are here in the project. As you can see, the name of it is automated project. This is how the smart projects look like.
You see the first automation already on top. This is a notification, in fact. The system checks in an automated way if this project is all right, or if there's something potentially wrong with it.
Yes, so this is one way of having notifications for you as a project manager. There are a lot of other notifications that you will receive, but anything that is worrying for the project will show up on here on the list, as well as under the bell icon right there. So let me go quickly through how the smart project looks like and what you can use. On the top of the page, we have all the information regarding the order. So we have a volume of the project here, when it was ordered, and what is the deadline for this particular project. Then we go and we see languages. Then we see the process. So what are the jobs done by either internal or external vendors? Then we can see how it is scheduled in the Gantt view right here. You can see the files in the project. You can see the financial part of the project, so the receivables and payables, and how actually it looks like when it comes from margin and return on investment. We then can see the people assigned to the project and quality assurance, in which you can evaluate the vendors and send the satisfaction survey to your clients after the project was finished. So maybe let's start with the process and let's actually create the project in MemoQ. This way you can automate one thing, which is the financial part of the system. XTRF, based on the cut analysis, will create the both receivables and payables. And this way you can avoid some time, and also the financial part will be more accurate. So with just one click, we will create the project in MemoQ. And now everything will start to synchronize between XTRF and MemoQ. So files that we have added to the project previously will start going to the MemoQ. Vendors that we have selected for the jobs will also go there and assign themselves in the MemoQ project. But of course, the most important part today is the finance part. If we go in here, we can already see the project summary of this particular project. We can see the total cost, which is highlighted in green, total agreed highlighted in green, total cost highlighted in red. You can see the flat profit, so amount of dollars in that case that you will gain from this project, percentage of margin, and return on investment.
So what the system did, you have seen before, the finance card was totally empty. What the system did, took statistics from MemoQ and multiplied them by the price metrics from the client and the provider in this case.
Yes. So if you have the rates set up in their profiles, and this way XTRF calculates the payables and receivables automatically with when you compare it with the MemoQ metrics, everything will be calculated automatically as long as you wish it.
One thing I noticed you have there is already that for the first step of the process, there was already someone assigned.
Yes, we have assigned an in-house translator for that particular project. Of course, it's not necessary to do this, but you can automate the selection of the vendor for every step in the process. In this case, we have selected translator by default. This is actually me, but you can do it for every step. You can even request XTRF to send the automatic job offers cascades. In the process, you can select this option, and XTRF will do this automatically for you as well. But regarding cascades and job selection, this is actually what we want to do right now.
Exactly.
So let's send the job offers to as many vendors as they are possible for that particular job. So to send the job offers is really simple. Use this little arrow here. Press send job offers. You choose the selection, vendor selection rule. So because you can have multiple ones, you need to make sure which one you want to use in that particular case.
Yeah, they're really easy to build. You can have yours.
Yes, we will have an overview of how you can build it in a second, but those are the ones that we have prepared for you. We still love dogs, so we will select them here. No offense to any cat lovers there. So we have 3 cascades. All of those 3 cascades have 2 vendors in it. And if I send job offers, the first cascade will be sent, so those 2 vendors from the top will receive a job offer notification. As you can see, the review step has changed now. It was open before, now it is actually offer sent, and you can see the time left on the job offers in the middle of the step. There is still 29 minutes for vendor to be selected. As soon as the time is finished, your project manager will receive notification that no vendor was selected. Of course, we believe it will rarely happen. So after selecting the cascade, we can now discuss how you can build this kind of filtering rule for yourself and what is possible in it. So let's
exactly. What are these cascades that we talk about? So on and on and on.
So now we are on the topic of cascades. What are they? What you can set up in here? And then the fact that they guarantee the quick assignment of the vendor for the particular steps in these smart projects.
Yeah, so it's really going back to what we discussed at the beginning, seeing your vendors in a structured way, in a flexible way, using the filters, and being able to quickly assign someone from that view.
Yes. So here we are at the cascade selection. Those are the things that you can define. There are not too much, but a lot of options here are inbuilt to the vendor filtering rule. So first, XTRF will take a look into the project and see what is the job type that you are trying to send the job offer for, specialization taken directly from the project, and of course, language combination of the project, because you don't want to select vendors out of their competencies. So this will always happen in the first place. Then you can add other filters, like we have seen here. So the first one is vendors on vacation. You don't want to send the job offers to the vendors that are actually out of the job right now. They are somewhere abroad, let's say, on the vacation. You don't want to have them in the offer to take the space of other vendors. And the other filter is if the vendor is dog person. In this case, you can select it to be yes. So only dog persons dog people will be selected on the list of Cascade. Of course, you can always change it to no, which means that no dog person will be selected. This is totally up to you. You can use the drop-down menu and select either of the options.
The same way you can add filters here. This is what we have mentioned at the beginning, that we take this view you have seen at the beginning, and now we make it contextual, because this selection is inheriting all the values from the project. So languages, specializations, job types.
Yes. And there are some more filters that you can use in here. You can select a certain cat tool if your vendor is using this category, as we have mentioned in the beginning. This is one of the way of filtering your vendors. You can use it also on the filtering rule as well. You can select custom fields. You can use you can select whether somebody is in-house, individual, or preferred for particular clients.
Exactly. So to summarize how Cascades and automations in general actually give you more flexibility and power when running your project, we want to show you the automations panel. This here is just for our demo instance that you're seeing right now. So it's not used on a daily basis, but as you can see, the numbers here are already impressive. This is just basic information that how many projects and quotes have been automated so far, how many automated actions have been executed by the system and not by the PM, and multiplied by a statistic, we have the number of hours saved. That's 78 hours for a platform that's not used 8 hours a day.
Yes, it's only used in some cases when you want to test something. So as you can see, 80 hours out of 800 projects is a good number to look at in the first place. And we're also not using every automation for every project. Depends on how many automations you want to run. The number may change, and you may have even more hours based on the project than we did in that particular instance.
Definitely. So this flexibility we have discussed is, you have seen in the project view, there are buttons to turn an automation on and off for a specific project. This place here lets you basically set it up in any way you want. You can work with some automations permanently turn on, permanently turn off. Depends on how you currently work, how you want to keep on working. For example, automatic sending of a purchase order is something that some people embrace from day one, and some prefer a personal contact. They still want to do it over email. This is the place where you can easily turn it on or off.
Yes. So there is one more thing that I'd like to discuss about the Cascades. Konrad has already mentioned it. So let me take a look here for a second. So the properties. So how actually XTRF will evaluate the vendors and in which order XTRF will send the offers. So by default, there are three sold by properties. Estimated cost, which means the cheapest one will be on the top of the list. And then you have overall vendor evaluation and specific vendor evaluation. Again, this one will select the best one out of their competencies. And also you can run the ascending or descending order when it comes to custom fields. If the custom field is some sort of value, you can also do it this way.
Exactly. If you use a custom field in the filters of a Cascade, then we understand it's important for you. That's why it's also automatically present in the properties.
Yes.
Yeah. moving on to global exposure. This is something that, well, everyone preaches, and it's something that really can have a business that operates from 9 to 5 in the time zone go all of a sudden 24/7, and this is by means, obviously, of a client portal, but we have shown that a lot of time, and the materials are out there, so we will not bore you with these, but instead, in version 7, we're launching a quote request form in a new, refreshed look and functionalities, and we want to take you to this place right now, because the beauty of it is that typically it would be thought as a place, a mechanism to get new business, but it's also good for your existing clients, right?
Yes. So this feature allows to request a quote and see the pricing of the quote from the beginning. It works two ways. So the go-to client in this case is a new client, because you can register yourself in your XTRF with just a couple of credentials. But also, if your existing clients would like to use it, because it does not require any login whatsoever, they can use it, and based on the credentials down below that you can see, so email, full name, company name, phone number, we will be able to match it with the currently existing account in XTRF. But again, we are mostly talking right here about the new customers. So whenever they input the credentials that does not match, XTRF will create the account, and then your new client will see the notifications go back and forth between each other, between client and XTRF.
Yeah, let's see how it works.
So first you select the service that you want to order as a client, and we want to use basic translation for that case. You select specialization, go to languages, we will use maybe English to French, and then you can upload a file. I have a test file in here. You can see that right after applying the file, we can see the word count in it, and already the estimated cost. So how much money I will have to pay you, the company that is using XTRF for that particular project. And if I fill all the necessary data, I can press request a quote, which will either create a new account on XTRF or match it with the existing one. And also, of course, as this is the project, you need to have a terms and conditions, which are available here on the bottom of the page. You can apply it on the XTRF home portal, and it will be visible here in the request.
Exactly. This form is embeddable on your current website, on whatever form you want to use on your website. So this way you're channeling your current web traffic into the system thanks to notifications, recognition of email address as an ID, and other contact details. And this will work exactly as a client portal would, yes, but just without logon necessary.
Yes, so there's difference in it.
Exactly. And finally, we have mentioned how the system can make your organization accessible to the market, to your clients. But what it also does, it makes all of the data that you store in it available to the people using it, to the people who make business decisions in specific. So we want to take you through some things that we see key in going through the data, drawing conclusions, and making educated decisions when it comes to business.
Yes. So first we have a search bar on the top of the page. It's also the second feature of it is a history bar, so it will show you what are the recent projects, quotes, clients or vendors you've been browsed through. It's up to 5 recent transactions with the database, let's say it this way, and you will be able to see it when you have been, and you can easily, from a few clicks, go back to the place you have originally been before. And of course, what's possible as well is just to type in the thing that you are looking for in database. Let's say you want to find the vendor that we have been using in the project that I have shown you. I have typed my name, and I already can see that there is a vendor with that exact name. I press it in here, and I'm redirected directly to the profile. I can already take what are his competencies, contact credentials, and so on. You will be able to see it here. So the second view is the smart views.
Exactly. So the views that we have shown you at the beginning, and then within the Cascades, they allow you to look into the database. But one thing that's good about them is that you can use them in multiple places. One of them would be the dashboard.
Yes, so you can prepare yourself a dashboard on which you will have a couple of views or even more than two. And you can log in here, take a look into this and decide what you really need to do in the beginning of the work, let's say. So I have here a dashboard that consists only two views, but I believe they are really crucial for my work. So those are the projects due today and the quotes, my quotes that I have to take care of. You can arrange it any way you want to. You can add more views as well. You can embed websites if it allows you to do so. You can even filter some records and sum it together. It's all possible in here in the dashboard. I just wanted to show you guys the basic of it and how the idea looks like.
Yeah, this is typically a project manager's perspective, but you can have a view of projects to be invoiced today for someone in accounting, and a number of projects to be invoiced today. And then as the day goes by, the number should be going as low to a zero.
Yes.
Another way how you can use the views is specifically for someone who's not using XTRF every day. So they don't log in every morning, look at their dashboard. They can subscribe to a view.
Yes, so there is a way of subscribing to a view in XTRF. So basically what it will do, it will export the view that you want to share with somebody in XTRF, put it into CSV file, and you can see it every morning. Let's say you want to send the information about particular project or particular quotes or clients, depending on what you need. And you will receive it on every morning or on every Monday, for example, once a week, about this particular data that you really want to show to somebody else. It's not daily using XTRF daily, but they really need this information, let's say every day or every week. Depends on the case that you want to use.
Exactly, and it's a really huge help. For me personally, I have several subscriptions. For example, one of the key ones that I use is every day, 8 a.m., I get a view of activities from XTRF CRM, what the salespeople have been up to, what are the new updates with all the accounts. I know exactly who has been doing what, with what client, how the process is done, and how the progress of that particular relationship goes. So that's something I can recommend, really.
Yeah, so you can also subscribe to a business report that you can create in XTRF. There are lots of predefined business reports that you can use whenever you are using XTRF, but you can also create yourself a really specific one that will show you the exact date from XTRF that you want to. Any kind of business value related to the quotes, jobs, money, number of vendors, number of time spent per project manager, it's all possible to do. Then you can subscribe it and you will receive this report also. As Conrad mentioned, it can be every morning, every week, every month, depends on the case.
Exactly. So business reports are another key feature that is basically using smart views, and instead of showing them in just a table, two-dimensional, you can add another view, like instead of showing the snapshot of today, you can go by month, by week, have your statistics presented there. So these are the key things we wanted to talk to you about. If we just go through them briefly, so vendor management to maximize project quality, but also optimize vendor costs. And by optimizing vendor costs, we don't mean by pushing your vendors to lower their rates. Automations to deliver the times, cut internal costs, and increase margin. Global exposure of your system to the outside market to distinguish yourself and have your organization be available 24/7 to the outside world, and giving you the power to control your business so that it can grow dynamically and you can make informed decisions. One thing we did not show yet is how a project can be delivered automatically.
Yes, so meanwhile, when we were discussing here, we actually should have received the email from our test instance. So just give us a second and we should be able to show you that meanwhile, when we were discussing it, Actually, we have received an email with the file in it. Right, just give us a second. So if you take a look in here, we are actually can see that we are happy to inform you that files from that particular project, this was the name of the project, have been delivered. We have this as a zip package. We did not do anything. Meanwhile, basically, the vendor has finished the job and uploaded the file. And this is what the information will be delivered to you. And that's why we mentioned the 24/7 availability. Basically, it can happen anytime as long as the vendor that is doing the job will finish it. You don't need to be in the office. You don't really need to do anything. It will be done automatically. This is one of the automations.
Exactly. When you look at the time, it was 4 p.m., 20 past 4, exactly when we were going through this presentation with you. So this is another key automation that can be used to your benefit. Although, as we said, some clients prefer to have it a more personal way,
yes.
But you have the freedom to turn it on or off.
As I like to mention, the automation means less control. So it depends on your business and how you want to run it. You can use more automation and lose a little bit of control, but you can always turn them off and have more on-hand approach, more direct approach to each project as you go through your work in XTRF.
Okay, so that concludes what we have prepared in form of a presentation, and now we can go into questions, if there are any.
So maybe we'll give you guys 5 minutes about to decide whether you want to ask a questions or not. Please leave them in the question settings. We will be here right back in 5 minutes, and then we will answer some of the questions, hopefully all of them. All right, so we are back. So we have a question from William. Is the request a quote for localized into Russian? Yes, it is. It is localized into many languages. One of them is the Russian language.
Actually, the request for quote has been frequently turning up in your questions. Another one would be, well, there's a couple who ask the same question from a different angle. What we have presented is how the system's built-in file statistics takes the word count from a file, and it can work also with a PDF file. And these file statistics, this word count, is then multiplied by a rate in a price list of your choice for that language combinations. So the questions have been around not disclosing the rates. This is up to you. The easiest way you can do is basically to have no rate in this price list. Obviously, there is a possibility to have a custom modification to the quote request form, but the easiest way that you can do yourself is to have no rate for that language combination, or have a disclaimer at the very bottom of the page where we saw the terms and conditions to for it to say these rates are approximate, please contact us or we will get back to you with a quote, or have the rates total say 0 and have the exact same message there.
So next question is about replacing something in notification. And all the notifications in XTRF are customizable. So if you, let's say, don't like a particular wording, or you want to add something more to already existing one, it's all possible to do in XTRF. You can even do it by yourself if you know how to do it, basically.
And they are also localized, coming back to the question about Russian. So the notifications are available in different languages as well.
Yes.
So what we have is specifically about version 7 and its release notes. Yes, release notes are available. They are already available on our user echo platform, and I think they will be published into the public soon. We will need to talk to our marketing team when that will happen. But if you're a client and using user echo, just search for it within the structures of user echo and you will find them.
Yes, so there is a question about how you can upgrade your instance if you are on our infrastructure. It basically the only thing that it depends is how many customizations you have in your system. It is not really complicated. It should be easy. You should just contact our help desk as soon as the XTRF 7 is released, and they should guide you through it.
Okay, there's also a question. Some people ask about the slides of the presentation. Yes, we can make them available, as we will make the recording available. So those of you who have left their email addresses will definitely be able to receive the recording along with the slides. We also have a question about there's some very specific questions. So these, I think we will be saving the questions and getting in touch with everyone who has specific questions individually. And I'm wondering, yeah, we can take like one or two more. Are you able to add job views to the dashboard? So actually, looking into jobs is something that specifically has been introduced in version 7. So yes, this will be available starting from 7.0.
And so let's take a look into the questions. So which CAD tools are supported? So we are supporting a bunch of CAD tools in smart projects, but the integration right now, the only integration that we have right now is the MemoQ. But we accept a lot of CAD analysis from many tools. So it's hard for me to tell exactly which one. I think Transit it is, but
we can send you a link straight into our knowledge base with the list, because it's literally updated like regularly. I know there's been a tool updated. I don't want to mix the name right now, but I know there's been an addition like last month. Okay, so that's it. We'll be getting back with you. Don't worry. We'll be getting back to you with the answers to your questions. Just not today, but you will receive answers per mail along with the link to the recording. So thanks for your attention, everyone.
I hope that you find our presentation useful, and feel free to contact us at sales@xtrf.eu.
Exactly, and if you prefer to meet us in person, then we will be attending TACOM in Germany next week. So see you in Stuttgart, everyone who's coming. Stand 2/GO5.
All right. So again, thank you very much from
Thanks.
me.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.